Corinthians chapter 4, verse 1 and 2, saying that financial is not a set for. Hey there. Welcome to the Radical Godly Stewardship Podcast. That's right. This is where heaven's economy collides with Earth's assignments. And I am your host, Dr. Lexi Johnson, your financial rebel, kingdom disruptor, your accountability coach into obedience. Because around here, we don't beg God for money. No, that's not what we do. We align, we obey, we produce, we multiply, and we dominate. And so, if you are ready to steward well, to think boldly, and build kingdom wealth, then you are ready to dive in. All right. Listen, as you're coming into the room, let me know who you are, where you're watching from, because we always love to acknowledge those who take time out of their day to join us. So, this is episode 64. We missed last week. I missed you all. But, last week and actually the week before was a full of shenanigans. Okay. But it's all good. It is all good. Today, I want to talk about a few things. It's the tax refund season. I want to talk a little bit about that. For some people, that refund feels like relief. For others, it feels like an opportunity. And for many, it disappears within 30 days. Okay. So I want to talk about that, right? I want to talk about how to use your refund strategically. Okay. Starting with solvency. And then I want to talk about why right now is the time to get your financial house in order. And we're also going to talk about wealth transfer. That's right. We are going to talk about it because, believe it or not, as many times as I have talked about it, we still have people out there who think that wealth transfer is an event. And wealth transfer is not an event, it is a positioning process. That's what it is. It's a positioning process. And so I am going to give you, I'm also going to give you a very strong invitation at the end. Okay. Because Financial Rebellion's meet and greet is tonight. And the 90-day coaching experience begins Tuesday, March 3rd. But before we get into any of that, we are going to do our stewardship check-in. Okay. We're going to do our stewardship check-in. So let's get to it. Before you decide what to do with your refund, I want you to pause and ask yourself these questions. Now, for some of you, this may be a little late because some of you, you filed like right on the day that it was time to do so, right? Towards the end of January. And then there are others of you who this is not late for. So if you've already gotten your refund, you didn't necessarily use it very wisely, please take notes so that any next year, this time, you can do better. Okay. So here are our stewardship check-in questions. Number one, do I treat extra money as an opportunity or as permission? The answer to this question is huge because it's going to tell you why you may or may not be using it strategically, right? So, do you treat it as permission to spend or an opportunity to build? Okay, write it down. Second question, if the refund disappeared tomorrow, would you still be financially stable? If the refund disappeared tomorrow, would you still be financially stable? Okay. Or is this refund covering all kinds of cracks in your system? Okay. That's huge, right? That's huge. We're going to talk about it. And question number 3 for our stewardship check in is, am I building financial margin or am I maintaining financial pressure? Okay. And Proverbs 21:20 says that the wise store up choice food and olive oil, but fools gulp theirs down. All right. A tax refund actually reveals which category that you're leaning toward, right? And this is not guilt. This is alignment. Okay. Because I know sometimes I can talk and people be like, ooh, ouch. You know what I'm saying? But again, this is not guilt. This is alignment. If you feel convicted, that's a good thing. Okay. Because conviction is not about just tearing you down. It is about building you up. And that is the difference between conviction and condemnation, right? The enemy seeks to condemn, and he wants you to wallow in all the mistakes you have made and woe is me. And all, he wants you to stay in that depressive state or whatever, in those patterns, right? But yeah, he convicts because he wants you to recognize the patterns. He wants you to break them, right? And then he wants you to rebuild, but to rebuild on the sure foundation of his word. So let's get into it. We're talking about a strategic order for using your tax refund. Okay. So we start at the same place every time. Anytime I am giving out any counsel to anyone, whether it's individual, whether a small group, big group, this we start at the same place every time, and that is solvency. Okay. So before you invest, before any splurging, before you upgrade anything, you have to build or strengthen your emergency savings. If you do not have at least $1,000 minimum in your emergency savings, and you are moving towards 2,500. I mean, moving means that you are consistently, regularly putting money into your emergency fund. Every time you have income coming in, you have a portion of it that is going to your emergency fund. If you don't have that, okay, that is your first assignment with your tax refund. Okay. That's your first assignment, to move $1,000 or $2,500 into an emergency savings. Okay. And ideally, what they call a high yield savings account. Okay. So a couple of those that I can mention off the top of my head is Marcus by Goldman Sachs. I think right now their interest rates for theirs, don't quote me, I think it's about 3.65, somewhere in there. Bread Financial, theirs is closer to four, if not four, roundabout, give or take. SoFi is another good one, but with SoFi, you have to have a direct deposit in order to get that higher interest rate. But in any case, do your due diligence, find a high yield savings account that you can put your emergency fund in there, so that this way, while it's not being used, it's growing a little bit, okay, as opposed to nothing if you put in a regular savings account. All right. So that's the first thing that you want to do with your tax refund. Okay. You want to get $1,000 to $2,500 immediately into an emergency fund. And that is money that you do not touch except for emergencies. Okay. And don't make something an emergency that is not an emergency. Okay. Like, oh my gosh, all the girls, we going out and I need to get my hair done. Oh my gosh, I don't want to go looking like this. That is not an emergency. Okay. Not an emergency. I'm sorry. I don't care what way you slice it. It's not an emergency. Get on YouTube, figure out how to do something for yourself, make your hair look good. Okay. All right. So that's your first assignment, because liquidity equals peace. Okay. When we have emergencies that happen, tires blow on the cars, refrigerators go out, furnaces go out, air conditioning units go out. Um, just, there are things that happen, right? And if you don't have that liquidity, that money is coming from somewhere, and it's usually coming from another bill, right? God forbid, your rent, your mortgage, or something like that. So liquidity, okay, solvency equals peace. Now, your emergency fund is not exciting, okay? Nobody wants to be like, what'd you do with your tax money? I put it in an emergency fund. It's exciting to me, But I know how some of y'all are. It's not exciting to you, right? But it is powerful. See, it keeps you from credit card dependency. Okay. And some of you out there, you are credit card dependent. Your credit cards are maxed out or beyond max, right? And you're overwhelmed and feeling stress because you now have a lot of debt, right? So, what else does solvency help you with? It prevents you from taking out those nasty payday loans. Okay. Those payday loans are trash. Okay. They are, if you want the quickest way to destruction, my goodness, that's one of the quickest ways to destruction in your finances. And then having some liquidity, having an emergency fund reduces panic decisions, okay? Decisions that you make out of desperation, like to go get a payday loan or to go do something else that, may seem like it's the answer at that moment in time, but it's only digging a deeper hole. So stability is always first. So your emergency fund is part of that, okay? That's your first assignment. Your next assignment is life insurance. If you do not have life insurance, please get some. Okay. I have been since 2012, talking to people about getting your license. Okay. You're done getting your license. Sorry, getting your life insurance. You can get a life insurance license too and make some money. But I've been talking about getting your life insurance, getting a life insurance policy. Okay. If you don't have liquidity, you don't have an emergency fund, you don't have on any of these things to set aside, if something happens to you, and listen, we're not guaranteed. I know when we're young, we think we're going to live a while. Even at my age, we think, I'll be here tomorrow, whatever. But we don't know that. And so, therefore, you want to make sure that you're prepared, especially when you're not solvent, especially when you're not solvent. Okay. Um, so, your emergency fund, and then your life insurance. Okay. Make sure that at minimum you have those two things. Now, if you need some assistance about how much you should put in your emergency fund, how much life insurance you should have, or whatever, like reach out to us. Okay. We'll help you with that. All right. Now, the next thing after you get solvent, is high interest debt reduction. Okay. We have got to get out of debt. All right. So we get solvent and then we got to get out of debt. Okay. So if your credit card interest rate is 22 to 25% or more, that is a guaranteed negative return. Okay. That interest rate is compounding against you. See, compounding interest can work for you or it can work against you. All right. So in this case, it's working against you. And so you have to pay it down. Okay. Paying it down is equivalent to earning that percentage risk free. Okay. That's math. There's nothing emotional about this, although we like to make all of these things emotional. Our credit cards, our this or that, we get very emotional about it. I get it, I understand. It's stressful, it's overwhelming. But the truth of the matter is we have to pull our emotions out because our emotions is what got us into the trouble in the first place. Okay. So we got to pull our emotions out and then we just got to, look at the numbers, look at the math, look at our situation. High interest debt keeps you in the interest rate debt trap. And we talked about that in episode 63. Okay. So I'm not going to repeat all of that. If you want to hear about that, please go to our YouTube channel at Money Mastery for her, the number four, her 54, the number 54. Okay. And look at episode number 63, and it'll talk to you about that interest rate debt trap. Okay. Now, you want to free yourself from debt and you want to do it strategically. There are different strategies you can use, like you can use the debt snowball, you can use the debt avalanche, you can use a combination of the two. Um, But got to get out of debt in this season. Get solvent, get out of debt. Okay. Solvent, out of debt. Solvent, out of debt. All right. The next thing that you would do, now we're still talking about how to strategically use your income tax return. Okay. So if you've gotten solvent, you got a debt plan in place and you put a certain amount towards your debt reduction. The next thing is income acceleration. Okay. So again, if you're stable and debt is under control now, ask yourself, can this refund, can this tax return that I have, this refund, can it fund a certification? Can it launch a side hustle? Can it upgrade tools that increase income? See, that is the key, because many of us go out and we start buying tools that will not increase income. They have nothing to do with our bottom line. They are what we call sunk funds, right? You're not going to gain anything back from it. So we go out and we get that type of stuff, new televisions, new, cars that we are not using to make income. We go out, we just go out, new shoes, new purses, new this, new that. And I'm not saying don't go get none of that stuff. I'm saying that stuff's not the priority, right? Solvency, get a debt plan in place, okay, and begin it. Income acceleration. What can I do to increase my income? Let me stop sitting around here waiting on the 9 to 5 to give me a raise. Or if I have a business, let me begin doing something with it, right? Or I am doing something with it, but I am not focused on um, money making activities, right? I'm doing all the busy work stuff in my business, but I'm not focused on the money making activities. All right. So, income growth is wealth fuel. The more income you make, the more you can create margins and cushions for yourself, the more you can pay down debt, the more you can build wealth, right? So, income acceleration, what certification can you get? What business can you start? What tools that you can get that will help you with your bottom line? Okay. All right. Now, after after solvency, after high interest debt, taking care of high interest debt, after income acceleration, then investing in wealth building. Okay. So you want to contribute to your retirement accounts, you want to invest in broad market funds, consider real assets, okay, like uh real estate investing. I don't know why my words are like escaping me today, but it is what it is. Real estate, like in real estate investing or something like that. And you want to strengthen your diversified income streams. Okay. Investing, though, without solvency is like building the roof without a foundation. Okay. Solvency is always first. Always got to make sure you're solvent first. I have some people who are like, oh, I'll go invest and then, use that money to build solvency. That's very risky. I'm not saying it doesn't ever happen for people, but it's very risky. Okay. All right. Well, I want to talk to you now about why now is the time to get serious about your finances. So, we are in a tightening season. What does that mean? We have elevated interest rates, we have consumer debt at historic highs, we have automation shifting employment, right? We've got government debt that is expanding, even though, okay, we have been promised, and this is not the only administration who has promised it. All the administrations promised to pay down the debt, but the debt continues to expand. And we have global economic realignment that is happening quietly. Okay. Now, this is not a doom and gloom message. It is a transitioning message. Okay. Now, transition rewards those who are prepared. Let me take a drink of water. Sorry about that. So, transition rewards those who are prepared. I need you to know and understand that. Okay. So the next 5 years are going to reward people who are solvent, people who have light debt or no debt, people who are skill stacked, and people who are asset positioned. Okay. The next 5 years, on the flip side, is going to penalize those who are over leveraged, those who are distracted, and those who are consumption driven. Okay. You are a consumer rather than a producer. If you don't take this time now, okay, and don't be waiting until next year and the year after, well, I'll get on it next year. No, no, no. Like right now. Okay. Because it's going to take you a little bit to get to that place where you are positioned, okay, where you are asset positioned. It's going to take some time. So that's why you want to start now. And the reason why, the reason why you want to, why now is the time to work on your finances is because of wealth transfer. Okay. This is the last topic that I want to talk about today, and it's an important one. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about wealth transfer. Now, most people think that wealth transfer is someday when the older generations pass away and then they pass on what they have. Some people think it's just some kind of event that is going to fall out of the sky. But, you know, that's not right. And particularly, well, when older generations pass away and they leave an inheritance, like that's part of it, but that's not all of it, right? Wealth transfer is not a single inheritance event. Wealth transfer is just not this event that we're all sitting here waiting on. No, wealth transfer has everything to do with you and what you are doing right now in this season to prepare for it. Wealth transfer is capital that is shifting sectors, right? So we see that money is following technology, particularly AI, right? So what are you doing to make sure that you are benefiting from that sector in some sort of way, right? So capital shifting sectors, technology is replacing labor, assets are changing hands. Okay. People are buying, selling houses. A lot of investors out there that are buying houses, selling houses. So, and houses are not the only assets, right? Cars, whatever. These things are changing hands. Businesses are consolidating, real estate repositioning, knowledge is creating opportunity gaps. Okay. The biggest wealth transfers happen during economic transition. And we are in an economic transition, as I have explained, and I have already shared with you how you need to take advantage of that, right? Who this economic transition is going to reward. So those who are liquid, okay, solvent, those who are educated. And listen, when I say educated, I'm not just talking about, oh, get a degree, right? And look, I've got degrees, okay? I've got them. But it's not all about degrees, okay? What certifications do you have? What skills do you have? This college is not the one and only way, okay? So it's going to, wealth transfer is going to benefit those who are liquid, educated, strategic, and positioned. Okay. When you are those things, you're going to be able to acquire. Okay. And again, as I mentioned, those who are over leveraged, those who are distracted, because when you're distracted, then you're only reacting to what's going on. Okay. So now you're reactive. You're going to lose. Okay. You're going to have to liquidate. Okay. While those who are positioned and ready, they're going to accumulate assets. Those who aren't are going to have to liquidate. So the wealth transfer, this is again, there's nothing emotional about this. This is very structural, and structure rewards preparation. Now, this is your moment. You say, well, Dr. Lexi, how you know it's my moment? This is your moment. If you have been saying that I need to get serious about my finances, okay? This is that season. Get solvent, get out of debt, build wealth intentionally, stop drifting financially. Drifting is expensive and discipline is profitable. Okay. Now, tonight is the meet and greet for Financial Rebellion. The 90-day coaching experience, this 90-day coaching experience is going to begin on March 3rd. Tuesday, March 3rd is when we have our first of 12 sessions. This information that I share with you today, not information overload, it's time for implementation. Okay. In the 90-day experience, we are going to build your solvency plan. We're going to attack your debt strategically. We're going to design income growth. We're going to position investments. We're going to align stewardship with kingdom principles. That's my favorite part. This is for people who are ready to move. Okay. And if that is you, you are ready to move, then click the link bit.ly, join the rebellion 2026. It is in this description. I believe it probably came up as an automatic um, pinned comment, but just in case it did not, I'm going to drop it in here one more time. Um, there we go. Because listen, you don't need another podcast, right? Although please keep coming back and keep listening. You'll learn. But you need a plan and you need to take action. Some of you, you have been saying you want to get serious about your finances for way too long. Saying it for a week is too long. Saying it for a year is too long. 5 years, 10 years is too long. Saying it for 5 hours is too long. Okay. Your tax refund is not random, it's a stewardship test. How are you doing? Yeah. How are you doing? Right? Will you consume it as usual, or will you convert it into future freedom? Are you going to choose alignment today? Are you going to choose strategy? Are you going to choose obedience? Right? And if so, then I will see you inside of Financial Rebellion. Only $249. Okay. I will see you inside of there. Listen, that's all we've got for today. God bless you. We'll be back next Thursday at 12:30 Eastern with episode number 65. And remember, solvency first, eliminate your high interest debt, fund your income growth, right? Build investments and prepare for your coming wealth transfer. Remember, we've been called, according to Genesis 1:28, to produce, to multiply, and dominate. God bless. We'll see you next time. Bye.